prime piece of evidence was played right at the beginning. Simon Denison QC warned the entire court that the CCTV evidence is extremely harrowing, and it was true.
On the 7th of February 2014, Dean Maley, a 24-year-old local man, became a tragic victim of knife crime in Greenford.
I sat down in the office with one of my detective sergeants and we trawled through all the intelligence reports for Greenford over about a 2 or 3 months period. And what we were quickly able to establish was there had been about 3 or 4 robberies in that area. Quite significantly, a number of those robberies had targeted young men wearing North Face jackets. And we certainly know that Dean was wearing a North Face jacket on the afternoon that he was sadly stabbed to death. And through that intelligence, we were able to identify a young male by the name of Michael Mensa and the fact that he was the owner of a light blue Fiat Punto. Interestingly enough, we've picked up CCTV from the main shopping area where Dean would have had to have walked through on his way back home, and we have got a light blue Fiat Punto parked up outside the KFC, and at some stage they were able to capture 3 youths going into the Punto and driving away from the KFC, almost shadowing Dean's walk back home.
The CCTV from the bus showed that they were getting into a blue Fiat motor vehicle. The bus caught the registration number and that car was registered to Michael Mensa.
One of the important things about investigating murder is continually evaluating risk. Now, there were 2 risky decisions that you made in the course of this investigation. The first one was around arresting Mensa.
Although he was the first identification, he wasn't the murderer, he wasn't the knife man. So the priority had to be to identify the knife man.
So you really made a calculated decision to not arrest him because you didn't want to alert the other 3 offenders and drive them underground.
Yeah, exactly that.
Shortly before Dean was killed, Mensa was arrested in possession of a knife and the police seized his mobile phone. And they still had that phone in their possession when they identified Mensa's car and the men getting into the car.
The suspect in the white striped jacket was clearly a friend or associate of Michael Mensa.
We were able to identify that he had a contact by the name of Bones. What Matt Bonner did was to take that a step further and search Twitter using that street name of Bones, and a number of names came up, including this Bones Santana 97. And when he went into that account, he realised that there was a picture of the same young man wearing the same hoodie with a distinctive white zip. There was also a birthday greeting from his sister about a week before, on the 3rd of February, wishing her little bro Jamal a happy birthday. So we had a date of birth, we had a street name, and we had a first name of Jamal. We trawled our intelligence databases. It was clear that he'd never come to police attention before, which is why we then took the step that we would ask schools and colleges to search their databases for a young man by the name of Jamal with a 3rd of February 97 date of birth. And that's how we identified Jamal Jones and his home address in Acton.
I'd now identified somebody in Jamal Jones who I believed was responsible for the murder of Dean, and I couldn't run the risk of leaving him out on the streets for a second longer than was necessary. And so I made a decision that we would arrest Michael Mensa and Jamal Jones and then turn our attention to the other 2 at a later stage. Jamal was called out to the front door by armed officers behind shields who put a red dot on his chest and instructed that he follow their instructions. At the same time and on the same day, but at a different location, we arrested Michael Mensa and seized his vehicle. We searched specifically for the clothes that were seen on the CCTV, and it simply wasn't there. We can say for certain that it had been disposed of.